Okay, well, welcome everyone to coaching. I'm glad that you're here and I know you're giving up something to be with us and me this morning. So I really appreciate it. I hope everyone's summer is going really well and you're spending quality time with family and friends and getting out and just enjoying the weather and the sun and everything. And anyway, I hope you're having a good balanced life. There's more to life than just sales, but we're going to talk obviously a lot about our business side here in coaching. But thank you for joining me and appreciate all the the songs. I love all of those. Paige, there's no way we're doing all of 2112. Nobody, first of all, about 1 out of 10 people would know it. First of all, and then we would bore everyone to death. Unless they were big Rush fans like you and me. Anyway, but good suggestions. Okay, so let me give you the problem that came up. So we're in watering restrictions, right? So the property goes under contract. Let me look at my calendar. I think probably 6 weeks ago. So let's just say it's mid-June when it goes under contract. And the grass looked fine. No one said a thing, unmentioned. So we go under contract and we go to close last Friday. And I got a picture of the lawn and it's absolutely, the best way I could describe it is it looks like straw. It's just straw, the whole thing. I don't think it's going to come back. So the buyer, of course, is really irritated. They said something to our agent a couple of weeks ago. Our agent relayed it to the listing agent. Listing agent said the seller was going to just start really, watering the lawn a lot. And frankly, just, like violating all the, the water restrictions that we were having. And I guess that's their decision. But we've got a problem, don't we? So put in the chat, let's see how well you know the REPC. Put in the chat, what section of the REPC says the property should be in the same general condition as it is the time of acceptance. Same general condition at time of acceptance. Where does it say that? What section says, in other words, the lawn needs to still be green when, we move in? It should be alive, it shouldn't be straw. What section of the REPC talks about same condition as time of acceptance? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody? Catherine, you're excused. You can't be typing while you're driving. Hi. Come on, Jill, we'll leave now. Everyone can weigh in. Nobody knows? Are you kidding? Jennifer, you've got to know. Yes? No? You do know. You don't know. Yes or no? All you have to do is nod. All right, Bob. You know what, Bob? I should have been giving away some money for that. Correct answer, first one to get it right. Yeah, Bob's right. It's 10.3. That's the section where we remind the seller the only way they get as-is protection is to have all the proper disclosures. It's the only way they get to sell the property in as-is and not be sued for things that are not, say, as new, right? So you don't get that protection unless you live up to section 10.3. You've heard me say before, I wish they were in reverse order. I wish it was like 10.2 actually said, seller agrees to disclose, and then 10.3 would be, as is condition, just to put the emphasis on disclosure. But anyway, that is where it is. It's 10.3C. Getting down to the nitty gritty, and it just says deliver the property to buyer in substantially the same condition as it was on the date of acceptance, as defined in section 23. So section 23 is just merely referencing what acceptance is. Okay, so when that occurred back in middle of June, we had green grass. Now we have straw. So, what's the answer here? Is the seller liable to replace all that sod? I mean, that's the question the buyer's asking. Am I just supposed to just forget about it? Am I just supposed to say, oh, that's okay? you know? So, you know, really what the best answer is, what should we have done when we went under contract? Should we have mentioned something about this? You know, like, let's just say I'm the listing agent. Let's say my seller is going to live up to all the water restrictions. It's highly possible that the lawn, you know, is not going to look great, or maybe they just don't want to water at all. They don't want to pay the water bill at all. Now, they could have done that if they would have said something in the rep C. Everyone agree? All we had to do is say, in regards to section 10.3 of the rep C, the seller, you know, is not going to be watering the lawn, and buyer agrees to accept the landscaping in that condition. If everyone signs off on that, we're fine. But as soon as it's not in the same general condition, and see, the rep C is not contemplating water restrictions, is it? It's not contemplating that, you know? So we need to address that. Why don't you guys bring it up in your listing presentations? It's another one of those details to dig up and talk about. I mean, here we are halfway through the summer, so this probably should have been, I mean, if it's already a problem, it's, you know, we're gonna have to, you know, address it anyway, okay? Okay, and thanks for weighing in. Let's do another one, just from, you know, kind of from the broker's desk. I brought this up on Sales Me a couple weeks ago about omitting addenda. I want to be clear about something. Let's say you get addendum number 3, and everything on addendum number 3, your client doesn't want to agree to. So it's the whole thing. So, so you grab addendum number 4, and you might say something like, you know, all the items on addendum number 3 are not part of the agreement. Okay, something like that. Well, so then the other agent says, well, why do we even have addendum 3? Because I'm worried the underwriter is going to look at all those items and, you know, may have a problem with the items there. So they suggest that we just don't have addendum 3 at all. So we go 1, 2, 4. Okay, since they're not agreed to. Okay. Do you remember what I said in sales meeting about this? So here's the legal reminder. As soon as your client puts initials and signature on a document, you cannot destroy it. Okay, you can't destroy it. You also can't strategically and on purpose omit things from underwriters. Okay, you can't do that. Now, someone did suggest, well, gosh, if they ask for it, they can have it. I didn't hide it. Well, if you sent it, that's fine. Like, here's what we omitted, that's fine. But when you intentionally do not include the omitted addendum number 3, you're participating, I don't want to be dramatic here, but you're participating in loan fraud. Okay, so that's a no-go. It's also kind of a form of double contracting, like there's, you know, this thing over here we don't want you to know about. So, you know, let's stay above board on that one. The proper thing to do is just to leave addendum 3. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 says everything on 3 is not included. That's fine, but we still have 3, right? So, and then we go 5, 6 on, but we wouldn't just delete 3. Okay. Okay. So for those on the Salt Lake sales meeting, Mike Fondario said that he had entered into the lottery that has now up to $600 million. You guys remember this? And he's like, you have to admit, if I win, you know, I may not be here. And I went, Michael, what? So then this great debate came up as to whether or not, if Will Cooper won the lottery, would he still be doing what he's doing? And I'm telling you, yes. Now that's after sharing a lot of that with you guys. Went home and kind of debated that whole thing with my wife. I go, here's what I would do. Every single person I know, like all of them, every single person I know gets 10 grand. And she's like, 10 grand? That's it? And I go, okay, I'll take everyone on a trip of their, like the trip of a lifetime. We'll go 2 weeks somewhere in the Caribbean. I'll just pay for the whole thing, you know? And so she's like, all right, now you're getting warm, you know? Anyway, and then I'd go back to work. I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. So, oh, it went up last night, Travis. I don't know. What's it up to now? I guess the after tax is like $400 million if you took the one-time payout. So yeah. Anyway, it's crazy. It's crazy. I've never played a lottery. I guess I'll never win it because I've never played it. But if it happened, I won, I would definitely still be doing what I'm doing. Anyway, so love what you do, right? You're better at what you love to do. Let me switch channels here before we get into study the market's response after you get a listing, which is really the meat of the meeting. Let me ask you guys a question. What is the difference? And feel free to unmute. Okay, so think about this one for a minute. This is kind of like a deep thinker. What's the difference in knowing what to do and doing what you know? What's the difference in knowing what to do and doing what you know? Anybody want to talk to me? Imagine you were teaching teenagers on the prairie with mosquitoes, and you haven't showered for 3 days. By the way, I'm not going to get too much information here, but if you ever have to go somewhere for a long time without a shower, they make full body wipes. Body wipes. One has a little bit of soap and aloe vera. One is just water. I love those. If you and I brought plenty. I just think everyone should have a shower. That's just okay. So let's go back to this. Let's say you're teaching, anyone you love. How would you explain this? So first of all, I guess we have to acknowledge, do you understand that knowing what to do is only half the equation, and then doing what you know is the other half? There is a difference. Like you can know what to do. And we've all done it, Yes, sorry. That's too much information. Yeah, but Swin, yes. Someone referred to them as military shower wipes or something like that. I don't know, but whatever, they're beautiful. So what is it? What's the difference in knowing what to do and doing what you know you should? Think about. I mean, here we are. We're doing coaching. Not everyone's here, but a lot of you are. So you gave up something to be here. You thought to yourself, it'd be a good use of my time, and so you did what you knew. When it comes to prospecting or planning our business, or how we improve our listing presentation, our marketing, everything that we do in our business, everything, we can know what to do, and it might not hit the application. Our knowledge may not hit application. So how do we get from making sure what we know we should do to application, or having a belief and understanding, and making sure that our actions are in line with what our beliefs are? How do you do that? How do you make sure that those are one and the same and not separated? So keep the answers coming. And I can see that you're kind of like with Paige and Swin, like integrity. If you're thinking about honesty, I would say it hits the target. It's not, I get it, but it's not really the bullseye. I mean, I'm not talking about you saying you're going to do something and then you don't do it. I'm not talking about unfulfilled promises. I'm kind of talking about how you are, like, your own discipline. So if you say, like, I want this and I want to do this, I even know how to do it, but then I'm not executing on what I know to do, how do I change that? And how do I improve that? Or how do I make sure that what I know I should be doing, that I am doing with my business?
A lot of it just comes with experience. It's kind of like the whole concept of driving a car. You learn how to drive a car, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you've driven a car. So you gain experience by doing and talking to people and relying on other people to do it. And it's also a matter of just setting the intention up front that no matter what happens along the way of the transaction, you're going to stick to what you said you're going to do. And once you've set that intention, you're not going to stray.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Anybody else seeing some words like discipline, practice? Anybody else want to talk to me? Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. Do you remember we taught? Well, you guys have heard the Mel Gibbons. The 5-second rule. Like I need to exercise. So that's the thing. But you got to be exercising by a certain time because you got to get to work, get a shower, all the things. And so if you don't exercise now, you're not going to do it. And so her simple tip was the 5-second rule, where you count backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you go. And you don't wait to feel like it, right? Because your emotions will often let you down. You don't always feel like doing what you know you should. That's a great tip. That's something that she's learned. There's these moments, these just moments in time where we make a decision again. So we made a previous decision. I'm going to do this. I know what to do. The moment comes and we're going to do it or we're not. And in that moment, I think we should recognize that there is moments where we're second guessing what we decided and planned to do and what we know we should be doing. And now when it comes time to do it, we wonder if we'll have the discipline enough to do it. And I mean, the discipline is to stick to what you decided, When I was thinking about this morning, I thought, well, why do you want to talk about this? And I said, well, I was talking to myself, like, as in two people. I said, well, because I want them to be happy. Like, I want you to author your story. I want it to be your story. I don't want like the chaos of the world to tell you what you're doing today. I want you to decide what you want to do today. And then I want you to be disciplined enough to understand that I need to know how to do it well. That's the study. But I also need to be disciplined enough to apply what I know. And that there are two different things. And in that moment, I need to stick to what I decided and remember you decided. And if you're not the one deciding too many things in your day, then you need to start over, right? I mean, we're all going to do something for someone else, but didn't we ultimately decide that was a good thing anyway? So I've been giving a lot of thought to the word sacrifice because I heard it a lot where I was. I promise I won't get too churchy. But, there were a lot of immigrants and Mormon pioneers who died on the way to Salt Lake City. There were, hundreds and hundreds of them. And they sacrificed even their life. And this kind of idea of sacrifice today, I think, is an interesting word because sacrifice tends, even like in a business setting, what are you giving up? Well, we're always going to give up. You can't do two things at once. Okay. Like it's the physics concept. Only one object can occupy space at one time. Two objects cannot occupy the same space. So you can only do one thing, right, guys? You can only do one thing. So as you plan your day, are we focusing on all the things you could have been doing? Are you going to focus on what you're going to get from the decisions that you made? Like I'm going to exercise, going to be healthy. The reason I'm reaching out to my past clients is, first of all, they're my friends and I like relationships. I'm not going to think about the fact that I could, that I could be at the pool, right? If you're going into prospecting thinking about you're not at the pool, then you're looking at it wrong, right? And then you think, well, that is a sacrifice. I'm sacrificing pool time so I can do my prospecting. What? Okay, so let's change it from sacrifice to just, I made a better decision to get a better reward. All right. So, a lot of us are going to make a list. A lot of us are going to, it's called time management. But I think the heart of all of this is that I think you should own it. I think you need to own and author your own story. I believe you can. And when you do that, you change the word from sacrifice to more like, well, I made a better decision to get a better outcome, right? If you say yes to one thing, you've simultaneously said no to a lot of other things. So are we focusing all the things that you said no to? Or are we focusing on the reason you said yes to this thing? You see what I mean? You see, so it's all about your focus. So when people say, oh my gosh, I gave up so much, I sacrificed so much. Well, maybe we're looking at it wrong. Maybe we need to make a better decision to get a better reward and a better outcome. Remember, bad, good, better, best. Okay, bad, good, better, best. I'm spending, things doing bad things are harmful. Get rid of that. Go to good. Go good to better, better to best. And all these are decisions. I suppose when I got to best, I could talk about all the better and good things that I gave up. And that certainly would be a sacrifice. And I think that's where the word fits. But I don't like to think about it that way. I like to think about what I am gaining from a better choice and a better decision. Okay. So yeah, Julie, I do find myself negotiating with my task list a lot too, but stick to what you plan to do. And when your head hits the pillow, you'll be proud no matter what the outcome is. Okay, you'll be very, very proud of the effort. I think we should celebrate effort a little better with ourselves than we do. The world wants us to celebrate only finish lines. You either did it or you didn't. Like, you either scored or you didn't. You either closed it or you buyer brokered them, you signed it, you got the thing. I understand, but don't remember those are all lagging measures. Leading measures should be celebrated more. It's your discipline to do the action of the daily things that matter most. Okay, so that's my coaching tip for today. Stick to what you know that you decided. Analyze your own choices. Make sure they're yours, and stay disciplined to the decisions that you make. Okay. All right, let's go to page 101 and let's get to this. Let's do this. Hit the chat. And I want to talk about market. Okay, so I'm not talking about how's the market, like, interest rates impact or number of properties or days on market and things like that. What I want you to tell me is, how many kinds of markets are there in real estate? How many subcategories are there? Okay, I'm going to take away the easy one first. It's location. All right, it's location. So everything in the Willow Creek subdivision. Okay, well, let's line them up. Leslie, tell me how many there are. I know there are a lot, so this is really important to get a running start at if we're going to study the market, we need to understand what market is. Okay, so the next one that Angie says is luxury. So luxury would be price. Everyone write this down. So first we have area, then we have price, and whatever luxury is to you. I mean, it could be everything over 2 million, everything over 3 million, everything over 5 million, whatever it is. So let's go into, I suppose we could say an older home is an age demographic. Yes, we could have age, location we already got, Leslie, the type of home. Let's everyone write that one down. So type, this would be like, either we're ramblers or we are townhomes or we're condos. Okay, yes, we have investment. Investment properties are ones that return and are primarily purchased as an investment for a return, not to house the family, to solve the family problems like residential. Okay, so new construction. So that would be back to age. So let's keep that one there. We could say older or age or new. So we've got area, price, age, type, investment. Rental is investment. So tell me about amenities, Tara.
Sorry. So I would think that some homes have solar panels, they're eco-friendly, the ecologically friendly, or the HOA within a community has a clubhouse. Some people are looking for that.
Great. Everything with a clubhouse, or exercise, or we could say pool, everything with a pool, everything with a garage, say, or a shop. Okay. How about so back to location. Under location, we can also have things like views, what kind of views they are. And everything in Utah could pretty much say you have a view. So you guys know what I mean when we really have a view. That could be one. So I think horse property would be under type. Ski properties, ski in, ski out. Okay. That's probably enough for us to, thanks you guys, for us to get a running start at this. You can see how it would be really amateur for us to just pick an area and say, that's the market, right? Instead, what if we said all the ski in, ski out properties, this is how we compete and compare. And we started looking at the market that way: days on market, percentage of listings sold, total amount of inventory, new listings, right? Those that are under contract, okay, their average sales prices. What if we just took a look at that? Now that would span a lot of different areas and a lot of different price points. Okay, so we can look at our property from all these different perspectives. Like, we may go to our seller says, geez, should we make a price adjustment? And you say, well, at first I thought maybe we should, but then I got looking at all of the detached shop properties. Do you know that right now we only have one other property on the market that has a detached 4-car garage shop? There's only one other property. If there's a buyer out there looking for this kind of property, we only have one other house to compete with. And we say, well, how do we compare, right? How long has it been on the market? What's its price per square foot, right? So the first thing to understand is to dive into the kind of markets that our properties reside in. They reside in a price point, an area, an amenity market. We could also go size, it could be an age. Start looking at how your property sits within inside these sub-markets. That's probably the best takeaway that I could give you today. If you're really in a hurry and you got a lot to do today, you could sign off right now. That's the best gym I got. Okay, so remember that one. All right, let's do some more. So on page 101, I thought maybe what I would do is, let's see, do I have it ready? I always make the mistake of sharing my screen and my email is up, and then I wonder, gosh, it's recorded. I guess everyone now could go back and look at all my emails, and yeah, amateur. Okay, so share screen. So here we are. Just give you some kind of maybe the mathematical or statistical point of view of looking at the market. Go back 12 months on the Wasatch Front MLS. I really like grabbing the area and then analyzing how many actives I have, how many solds I have, and what my percentage of sales are. I mean, look, a lot of these are selling. So this example is kind of a legacy example, meaning I've been talking about this for decades, and the market shifts a little bit, making this one in today's market maybe not the best mathematical view. But you need to understand how you compare square foot wise. You need to understand how you compare to the chance of selling, and take a look at the numbers that might shed some light. Okay. The next one is track your first showing. And hey, Joe, can you chat for a sec, or?
I can always chat.
Okay. So where are we going to go to look at tracking our showings of our listing? So where would we go to get that number and report that to our seller?
So that's going to be dependent on the MLS. All of our MLSs use a different program for that, but I believe the Wasatch Front uses showing time, and I believe the PCBOR uses showing time. I think there's a different name for the one down in the WCBOR, and I'm not sure what Kanab uses, but your requested showings should be in your MLS report based on your property listing. Most of the MLSs will also send an email, right? So when an agent requests a showing, you get that in an email. So it's quite easy if you wanted to on your inbox, just create a little folder in your inbox that says, data from the MLS about my listing, and then you can capture them that way as well.
Mm-hmm. How about our views?
Views are in multiple places. The best place to probably start is Zillow. That's the one that agents hate, but all your clients use. So make sure you have a free agent account on Zillow. When you create a free agent account, they're going to ask you to input a bunch of past sales and a bunch of other stuff that you can skip, but your free Premier Agent account will give you every single one of your listings, and it will tell you how many times it has been viewed on Zillow. Your second place is going to be List Hub. So List Hub is an aggregator of all the places that we syndicate places to. They don't like Zillow, or Zillow doesn't like them, so Zillow doesn't send their data over List Hub anymore, but it'll still tell you views on all the other websites that are out there. The last place I'd suggest looking at is the Spotlight Home Tours data on how many times that the microsite has been viewed, and check those out. So those three places would be a great spot to start.
Nice. That's what I wanted to hear. It's good stuff. So the reason I have
Hey,
number 2 there.
Will,
Yes, Leslie, go
on,
ahead.
on List Hub do we have an account? Like each individual agent has an account on List Hub?
Yeah, the brokerage has an account, and then an agent has a login for that account. ListHub's a little funky in the way that they've done this, and now that they've been bought by Realtor.com, it's even funkier. But in order to get an account that's active, you can only sign up when you have an active listing. So if you have an active listing and you're having trouble getting the List Hub, just send me an email, or List Hub support now just goes through the Realtor.com support link, and you can try to get hold of them there. But if you're having issues with List Hub and you have an active listing, let me know. But if you're having trouble with List Hub and you don't have an active listing, that's why. You can only sign up for List Hub if you have an active listing.
Thank you.
So the reason on number 2 here is your first showing is online. So how are we doing with that very first showing? How many views do we have? Let's make sure that we can show our sellers that there's activity, that there are people that are putting eyes on their images, and give that report. I really like this happening formally, maybe once a month if we have listings that last that long. But at least once a week, we're reporting to our seller about what's been going on and making accounting. May want to raise your game there. You know, I know it takes a little bit of extra time to account for this, but maybe put that in your process. And also you can put it in your listing presentation that this is what they can expect as we study the reaction of the market on their listing. That's just as important as getting the study done prior to set the price. It's just as important to study the reaction of the market. So views, obviously we're talking about showings that get there, right? But we're also gonna, we're gonna track our online showings, which are those views, okay? So we kind of talked about number 2 already. Thanks, Joe. Sorry, number 3. Let's go to number 4. This is, the track and watch your competition. So you want to pay close attention to what goes under contract while your property is active. If you've already identified the competition, then you need to know whether they go under contract and maybe make some assumptions to why that might be. Are we helping them sell? Clearly we did, if that's the case, because we become the stepping stone to them selling. And they saw something in the amenities, the price, the overall value to make a decision to go with the competition instead of our listing. So watch closely how they are. The tip here, let me stop sharing, but the tip here, write this down, is to go set up an alert in the MLS as if it's a buyer, but name it your seller's name and put the criteria that's similar to your listing. That way you'll get an automatic notification of any listing that hits the market that's similar to your listing, okay? Then you can start watching how it responds and what happens to that listing, okay? So right now, with all your active listings, you should have a bank of properties that are similar to yours. Again, looking at it from the perspective of the sub-markets that we just talked about, all the ones with the shop, all the ones with the clubhouse, all the ones that are ski in, ski out, all the ones that came with a pool, private pools, how are we looking there, okay? So, and then how many listings are in that competitive group and how are they performing, okay? I mean, that's really good stuff, you guys. If you really did this, you're speaking the right language, because look, what do they want from us? And what do we do better than anybody? We help people net the most. And when we're talking about sensitive issues about price positioning, then we have to have the right data to support, where we price things. And be careful of the knee-jerk reaction just to make price adjustments when things don't sell. I know obviously there are many times where that is the right answer, but I think you should show them why that is. And that's a better professional, okay? So Julie's suggesting also to go personally visit the competition and be very aware of the differences. I think it's a great idea, great idea. We got time to do that now. The chaos since 2020, we did not have that time. And we were too busy dealing with the assembly line chaos, right? So I think I like that idea a lot too. If you're not accounting for showings and your views, make a habit of doing that. And look, when you do it, go ahead and make the example and put it in your listing presentation so you can show people how you're going to report the online views, okay? Remember, the first showing is always online. The very first showing is always online. Back when I got started, I hate this, but this was 1991 and everything was a key box with an actual key, long thing, kind of a brassy looking thing. And, everyone's key was a little different. You knew when that was being shown. You had to go read the key boxes. You had to take the box to the board and the board would tell you about your showings. And we'd have to go through this whole process of verifying who went in the property, So now, we're really, our first showing is online. Okay. So, okay. Any other questions or comments on these tips today? So we talked a little bit about REPC stuff. We've talked about the difference in knowing and discipline of knowing about what you know and what you do are two different things. And we're talking about studying the market after our listing is active. Any comments about any of this? What, you guys are shy? You're realtors. You can't be shy. What, are you afraid to talk to me? We're best friends. Oh my gosh, you guys. Someone talk to me. If I said everything that needs to be said, there's nothing else, we're good?
Well, I have a condo coming up in a condo development downtown. And so what I have done is I have called all the agents that recently sold, like within the last 3 months, because
Okay.
there've been like 3 solds.
Okay.
And John Bach being one of them. And he was just a wealth of information, just helping me understand the building. I also called the agent that had the listing. So it's kind of an interesting situation. I actually bought this property, or was the buyer's agent on this property back in November. And so I called her just to kind of get some feedback from her about her experience selling this condo. So just, I think talking to the agents is super helpful especially in a setting like that, where you have very similar, like super similar, like almost identical properties.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Yeah. Are you approaching it with these agents like, hey, I've got a listing and I'm kind of calling for some help?
Just more so just wanting to see what kind of buyers they had. So there's this development has a very huge exterior repair going on right now, and so a lot of those units were struggling to get sold because of that assessment and the repair. And so I wanted to get their feedback on if that affected their sales or views or any of that. I was just more approaching it kind of from that angle, just trying to prepare myself. Fortunately for me, the unit that I'm selling has already had the repair done on it and the assessment's already been paid. So I don't think it's going to be an issue for me, but I just wanted to kind of get a feel for what they encountered. Did that answer your question, Will?
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it's good people are going to help you when you ask for input and help and guidance. They feel important when you do that, and they are important, but when if you're calling like, I listed a property and I would love you to help me sell it, that has a little different tone than, hey, I noticed that you've got experience in selling properties in this area, and I'm wondering if you have any tips or suggestions on how we might go about doing that. is a different conversation. So I like that a lot. So if you guys are ready to kind of put a bow on this and say, I know everyone's gonna has a busy day, busy week. I appreciate you joining me. I got a challenge for you. This is an activity. We don't have to do it on the call. You can do it when you hang up, but this is a channeling our gratitude. But I'm going to add. I've done this before, but let's add to it a little bit. There have been times in a live class where I've said, "Hey, you guys grab your phone, and I'm going to describe someone, and I want you to think about the first person that comes to your mind." And but right now, I want you to think about maybe, who is the most important person in your life? Who is that? You got somebody? All right. So before 10:30 is up, I'd like you to send a text and say, "Hey, I was on a coaching call today," and you say, "Hey, if they know me, great." You say, "Hey, Will asked who's the most important person in your life, and I thought of you, and I just want to remind you, you're my number one." Just send that. Okay. The next twist on this is that, and it could be, I guess it could be the same person, but I'm kind of reaching for somebody else here. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go down to number 3. Is there a client that has just been so delightful to you, just so fun to work with, and you wish all your clients were like they were? And if you can think of someone, then I just want you to tell them. That's all I want you to do. I just want you to say, "Hey, we were talking about the kind of clients we have, and the instructor asked, think about a really delightful client, and you were the first person that came to mind. I'm just really grateful for the time that we got to be together, and I appreciate your trust in me, and you made it such a delight to work for you." Okay, let's do one more. So now let's look at it from the person that you maybe have learned the most from. So you think teacher, mentor, guide, example, something like that. Okay, so we've got number one person in our life, we got our delightful client that we're grateful for, and then we've got the teacher, mentor, or example that you really look up to. Okay, and each one of these, you're going to just say how grateful you are for them in your life. Okay, now this is where doesn't that sound like a really good thing to do? Would anyone argue with me if I said that this would be a good way to spend your time? I don't think anyone would. Everyone would say, yeah, that's probably a really good idea. So we know what we need to do. We should do this. We definitely should do this. There's nothing wrong with doing this. This is really, really good. Okay. Well, will you do it though? See, there's the knowing what to do, doing what we know we should. You'll do it if you decide like, yep, I'm just going to do it. I mean, what's it going to take? If this takes you more than 2 minutes, I would be surprised, but I'll also make you this promise. It'll be the best 2 minutes of your entire day. If you do it right and do it now and you do it, I would love to know what happens today that trumps these gratitude texts. Okay. So just do it. Okay. Put the love out there. Share the love. You'll be surprised. Sometimes people that come to your mind, they really need to hear this. They need to hear this from you. You matter to them. And a simple little thing that takes no time at all really, really matters. And I think it's just a good way to live life, Make sure your gratitude is really expressed and really, really loud. Okay, so back to these 3 people. The number one person in your life, okay, the client that was really delightful that you're most grateful for, and then a mentor or teacher or example, okay? All right, send those text messages. I would love to know if there's any great stories about the outcome to that. There was 47 of us on here at the peak, and I think some dropped off after I gave the final market stat data there, so that's fine. But I challenge you to do it. Okay. Matter of fact, hey, you wanna have a little fun? Should I make it a drawing? Or does that take away from anything? Nah, let's do a drawing. Hey, Angie, let's do a drawing. Will you help me orchestrate it? So just do this. If you guys did the 3 texts, okay, just text me and say you did. No. Angie, can they text you? Okay, text Angie and say I did. I'll check Angie's list. She'll spin the wheel. And you know what? Let's pay for dinner for you and your spouse. Okay, so, and by the way, Angie, you can make it very specific. You can ask the person who won where they want to go to dinner. Okay, very specific. And we will buy the gift card to that restaurant. You can take your spouse to dinner. Okay, so this is a win-win-win-win-win. Okay, send the 3 texts. I wish you well. Send them with love. Be authentic. Be you. And let Angie know when you did. And we'll put you in a drawing. And hopefully we can send someone who would really like to go to dinner with their spouse. And it will be on Berkshire Hathaway. Okay, our amazing company that we work for. Okay, you guys go have an amazing day. I love you all. It's real. Yes, if I won, should I go enter? Should I just go enter? Because if I won, you know, I'll just share it with everybody. Like, I'll even make a contractual agreement right now, Joe. Like, I guarantee you that every one of my loving friends at Berkshire Hathaway would get a piece of my lottery winnings. Let's make that a verbal, expressed, valid contract, because it doesn't have to do with real estate. That's a valid contract. Maybe I should go enter that thing. Hey, Lena, you would relate to this, but I'm telling you what, the house I would have and the studio I would have and the instruments I would have in that place, oh my gosh. I think I'd have a really nice home in Salt Lake. I think I'd have another one in Newport Beach. I think I'd have another one in Florida, and that's kind of just getting started.
Well, I don't know. That would be an amazing house and I want to visit. And bring my guitars for you to play.
Yeah. I think I'd call our sound guy and say, hey, why don't you just plant that 100,000 watt sound system in my studio? It's fun to dream, you know, but life is good. Life is good just the way it is too. I'm very, very blessed man and love my life. So anyway, love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Send those texts out, please. It'll be a good thing for you. I think it'll lift your soul and lift someone else's soul, and they need it. Okay. All right, Joe, you can stop recording.